Hello, is anybody out there? I know I'm a couple minutes early, not much. Whew, just gotta chill. Yay, somebody showed up. Hello. I feel like I'm too close to the... Let me back this up a little bit and hope that that'll work better. Maybe. Ugh, that's worse. That's crooked. I don't know. Hi, Paige. I'm trying to adjust my camera because I feel like people can't see. Let me lift this stuff up. It looks so crooked. What the heck? That's better, I guess. Let me see how far over. Hi, Nix. Oh, this way. But then that's crooked again. I don't know. My camera's wacky. And it won't stay in a position I want it to stay in. Hang on. I need a different room set up. All right, we're going to have to... that's crookeder. Crookeder. More crooked. It's getting worse. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to make you dizzy or anything. I need it like that, but then it won't stay like that. The problem is the arm that it's holding is not centered on my desk right. Up and out and over this way. I guess that's going to have to do. Is that terribly bad? That's terribly crooked, isn't it? I can't get it straightened out. If I do that, then it's over too far this way. Let me push this over, move this over. All right. Rearranging, sorry. I couldn't do it while I was trying to get on. Yeah, I'm trying, Paige. I'm trying. Just one or two of the last ones that I did, I noticed that I wasn't really on in the camera range, and I'm trying to make sure I stay in this time, hopefully. But in order to do that, I have to get fiddle with this. Oh, that's over too far, isn't it? Nope, has to go over more that way. Oh my goodness. Well, this way. That gives me like hardly any room to work, but we'll just have to deal with it. Okay. So this is the January host code I'm trying to get in the frame. Oh my word. Okay. And pretty soon we're going to be working with the Tropical Oasis suite of products. Let's see. I feel like is that too close? It's probably too close. Let me back her up a little bit. Maybe that's better. I think that's better. Is that the best so far tonight? All right. This way. I have to stay over this way. I have to stay to my right. All right. So that's what we're going to be using. These pretty papers, the Stampin' dies, the embossing folder, the little trinkets, the braided burlap trim, and the first card's going to use the Memories and More pack. I am not going to use the Stays On ink because it's currently not available. It's on back order or something. Okay, thank you, Next. Now, before we do that, of course, I have a few things to talk about. So let me move this out of the way. And bring in some other stuff. Okay, so firstly, we're only a couple days away from February 4th. Well, I think that's Tuesday next week, right? So I think it said March 3rd or something like that page, but don't hold me to that. But right now it said that, but then it was in a category that said not orderable right now. So I don't know exactly what that means. That was earlier today. So anyway, starting next Tuesday, if you got any celebration items, there are a bunch of coordination items coming out to go with them. And I've gotten the ladybug dies to go with the little ladybug. And I want to get this one really pretty, Sending Flowers dies. And let's see. And I got the Pleased as Punch Designer Series paper, which I showed you last time, which goes with the umbrellas, the hearts, the tulips, the little Thoughtful Blooms punch. Also, there's some dies coming out to go with the Happy Birthday to You. Hi, Philomena. And the Happy Birthday to You is supposed to coordinate with the February paper pumpkin. So yeah, stunning celebration coordination. So it's going to coordinate with this and make 9 cards, which I think I mentioned last time. So if anybody's interested in any of these products, please let me know. I would love to be your demonstrator in the USA. But in the meantime, I offer you free videos every Tuesday night. Just sharing some cards. Now, I will say, as I worked with this Tropical Oasis suite of products, I only did 3 cards. I think this is one that I'm going to have to do a class on in February. So I'll let you know more about that because there's so much more I want to do with that. Okay. Now, someone had a question, and I'm going to show some differences throughout the night. But the question was, what's the difference between the Stampin' Rights and the blends? This is a Stampin' Right, and in the catalog, they are, you can get them a couple different ways. You can get them as a set by collection, which would be 10 markers, one of each of the 10 colors for $30, or for the in colors, they're $15 for 5 colors. Or you can get them as what they call many marvelous markers. Anyway, it's a set that has all the main colors, the neutrals, the brights, the subtles, and the regals. You would, I think you still have to get the in colors separate, which would be an additional 30 for all of them, or 15 just for the current ones, that kind of thing. That's for the Stampin' Right. And they're shown, except for the Many Marvelous, the whole big kit, they're shown on the pages with the regular inks because they are dye-based ink. So that means you can use them just like a stamp pad, but they're ink. And they have a writing end, which is why they're called, oops, wrong one, Stampin' Right. And it's marked, but I didn't pay attention. So this has a writing nib on it and a brush nib. And it's designated by both the picture and the line is bigger on the brush end. I mostly use the brush end on these, except when what I do is I try to stamp my little thing on the back of the cards in a coordinating color. And I use the right end to write my name then, you know, by Deb Houck or whatever on that. So those are the Stampin' Right markers. They're thinner. They only come in one shade, which is the same shade as the dye inks in the catalog, meaning you don't get a light and a dark kind of thing. Okay, so the blends are not shown on that same page. They're shown back on page 179 in the current annual catalog. And they're not available in every color, but there's a lot of them. I don't remember how many this is. Plus, there's a bronze, an ivory, and a color lifter, which looks like this. in case you do a boo-boo and go out of lines. Yeah, I'm going to try for a class. I'll see how it goes. I have to work on it still, and it'll probably be mid to late February. We'll see how it goes. So this is, for example, Old Olive, and they come in light, dark, or you can buy the combo pack. I would just suggest if you're going to get a color and you can afford it, get the combo pack, because the whole point of the blends is to blend them, and they blend very well with each other, like the light and dark in the same color. So you can get that shading without a lot of effort because you know these colors coordinate, right? They come in, you know, the colors are the same as the ink colors, but they're alcohol, they dry fast, and they're best used with Memento Tuxedo Black. But if you get too close to the line, they will bleed out a little bit. The color lifter, it's called Color Lifter. It's item number 144608. It's on the same page. There's 3 colors that don't come in light and dark. One is bronze, which is more, it's like bronze. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's it's not one of the regular colors. It's a bronze, and an ivory. I think these were meant to be skin tones, but I use the bronze a lot on trees and hair and stuff like that. And ivory is good for skin tone, but so is Petal Pink Light, I think. There's a little bit of a difference. The ivory is a little more darker and a little bit more brown tint to it instead of pink. And the lifter, I've never used the brush end of that. I use the nib end. Now these tips are a little bigger, so let me just show you. For example, there's the writing end on the Stampin' Write, and that's the small end on the color lifter. But oops, sorry. And then this is the brush end versus this brush end. So this one is a little fatter and shorter, and this is longer and skinnier, and you can use the tips of either one of those to color fine areas. Like, I hope that makes sense. But the brush ends on the blends only use, I think, if you're doing large areas, because a lot of the ink, not on the color lifter, but a lot of the ink will come out at one time on the brush end. Let me get a scrap or something. Not that piece. Hang on. So there's the brush end on the bronze, and this is the nib end on the bronze. Most of the stamp things that we have, okay, what do I do with the lid? Here it is. You don't need to cover such a big area. Now let me get a similar color. Sorry, I have a mess here. This is the Early Espresso, and this is the brush end. And this is this is really, I think it's 0.5. Yeah, 0.5 millimeter is the writing end. So it's meant for writing and not coloring. This is meant for coloring. You will get a little bit more streaking with the Stampin' Write markers, but it just depends. I think you also get more saturation of color, though. It's not really. That's the bronze right there on Whisper White, the lighter one up here. So it doesn't have a metallic. No, I'm not going to say it is. It's just a bronze color. It's sort of a, I don't know how to describe it other than what bronze looks like. Hi, Tammy. Welcome. That's what the lifter is for, Clay. It's to correct boo-boos. So occasionally, if I'm coloring with the blends, if I get too close to the line of the image, it'll bleed just a little bit outside the line. So if I want to try and correct that, you gently go over the area and it will lighten it. And you have to do it maybe a couple times, but you see that's lifting the color off a little bit. Does that see? So you might have to do it a little few times, but that's what the intent is, to remove the color where you made a boo-boo. Or just if you want to remove the color, you know, just clean your tip off after you do that, so that the next time, like say if I made a mistake on red and I had bronze on that color lifter, you know, you wouldn't want that. So that's the difference. These are alcohol markers. The blends are alcohol markers. Like, for example, if you had to compare them to Spectrum Noir or Copics, or I don't know what any other ones are out there anymore. So that's what these are. The other ones are more like writing pens, but with a brush tip. I would compare them more to like Tombow markers, or I don't know any other ones because I haven't bought any other ones. I used to have some Tombows, and they're similar to that. They're dye-based inks. Okay, I hope that helps. And the alcohol markers, the blends they call them, are on page 179 of the current annual catalog. The other ones, I'm trying to see if I can find the many marvelous markers. So here it is. It's on page 180. If you want the whole set of 40 colors, you know, 10. Oh, it does come with the current in colors as well. You can get the whole set. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's just these 40 colors, 10 each of these color families: neutrals, brights, subtles, and regals. You can get that as a pack, and it's got room for all of them. Plus, it has room, if you get the in colors, to store one set of in colors in it as well. And I have that turned just on its side here, right in front of me, so that I can just grab and reach the markers. And then I have a storage unit for the blends as well in front of me, which I'm going to reach in front of you and put something away. Okay. That make better sense? We're going to use both of them, but for very different reasons tonight. Okay. So with that, let me put this catalog away and get to the first card. I know y'all want to stamp. I have to show you these papers first, though. Gotta make you wait a little bit longer. Look at these papers. All right. We have I showed these before, I know, but maybe there's some new people. And you know what's funny is I love this because it's bright tropical colors, right? I went more for the subdued colors tonight. I don't know why. That's just me. Hi, Pam. Welcome. Thank you, Paige. We have flamingos for those of you that are flamingo lovers. Tropical leaves. And we have this one, which I didn't use. I instead used this side, which is Pool Party. This is the prettiest one now. I really want to dig into that. That'll be in the class for sure. And then we have this really cool one with the old vehicles with the wood panel sides. And on the reverse of that is like that coastal weave. Thank you, Philomena. And then there's that one again. In fact, let me put them with that. And then, yes, we have no bananas, but we do. And that's on the reverse of the pineapple, which goes there. And then this really pretty one. Now, they don't say that this coordinates with Pretty Peacock, but I think that's Pretty Peacock in the background. It sure looks like it to me. And on the reverse of that is tropical palm trees. And I think that's it. Yep. So this is called Tropical Oasis Designer Series paper, and it goes with a whole slew of different colors. All right, let me try and get this back in its sleeve so it doesn't fall all over my floor. And then we'll get started on the first card. As I was doing the second card, I thought I should have made this a fun fold, but I didn't. So anyway, okay. So the first, oh, I have to show you something else. Sorry. The first card is going to be using these Tropical Oasis Memories and More cards. And let me just quickly show you these. And this came out of the first cards. I saved it for one of the second one I did. I saved it. But aren't these cool? These are like Project Life cards. You could use them in scrapbooking. I mostly use them in little mini albums, or because some of these make really nice journaling cards. Excuse me. I'm sorry. And sometimes they just make really cool cards. I mean, that looks like oranges or peaches. That's pretty. I like that one. So I'm not going to surfboards, and so these images are different than the paper, some of them. Excuse me. Okay, tea time. So sorry. See, I start to talk. Now, doesn't that look like Pretty Peacock? Maybe I just missed it, but I couldn't see it on the paper. Pineapple, bananas. I'm just trying to quickly go through ukuleles. Aloha. I would love to go to Hawaii again. I never got to see any of the islands except Oahu because I was always there for business. So when I got to go. Flamingos. So these are called the Memories and More cards in the Tropical Oasis pack. And I can't show you the one we're going to use just yet because we're going to use the only two of that design. Okay, now where did I put there it is. So, let me bring the card in that we're going to do. Oh, gosh. Here it is. Am I in frame? Yeah, sort of. So it's a birthday card because I need birthday cards. Hi, Craft Creations. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Thank you, Philomena. So, you know, on the other day on the Pinspiration Collab, I did the Eclipse cards. Well, this is the reverse of that. This is where the front is bumped up and the inside is recessed. And I don't know what the name of that is, but that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do that. I'm good, thank you, except I always end up coughing. This is on Grapefruit Grove, which is one of the coordinating colors. And that's what this is too. And this is the pattern. This lets you see the pattern really well of the Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder. That's the type of weave it is. It's like a crisscross. What did I get on there? Crisscross. But this is stamped and colored with blends. There's a little trick too, and I'll discuss that when we get to it. And this too. Actually, not those. These. Okay, and those use Stampin' Right markers. And then the dye ink. And then these little dots are in the annual catalog. They're carryover from last year, Happiness Blooms enamel dots, because I happen to remember that there's Grapefruit Grove and then there's Pineapple Punch, which isn't really one of the colors, but I thought since we have pineapples, maybe it would go with it, right? So yeah, so we're going to use those. I used one in the center of the flower and then two other ones. And then inside, I don't have any designer paper in here. I just have May Your Birthday Be Memorable. The happy birthday in this came out of the Sending You Thoughts, which is a celebration stamp set. I love this set, by the way, which you can get free with a $50 purchase, because I just thought it's like an inside-outside set. So you have Happy Birthday, Another Sensational Year of You, If Loving Thoughts Could Heal, You'd Be Better Already, What's this I hear? Well, all I can say is congratulations or thanks. Sending a little something with a great big wish for happiness. You could use that with happy birthday or, you know, whatever. But I just really like the sentiments in that. So I used that on the outside. But on the inside, I did use a sentiment from the Timeless Tropical. Sorry for the glare. And it's may your birthday be memorable. Well, hopefully our birthdays are always memorable, but I don't know. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this whole front piece here is a 4x6 Memories and More card that I just showed you. They come in a kit. And then I die cut it with the layering ovals in the white part. And then this I actually put up on my sticky wicky foam tape, which we'll do again. But we're going to figure this out first. So let me bring the pieces up. See, I'm starting to, as I make a card, I've got these things from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just starting to keep my pieces in for each project so I keep them all together, right? And there's the other piece. So I do have a separate piece. Yay. Okay. Now, here's our stamp. Here's our other stamp. Here's our happy birthday stamp. Alrighty. I think we're all set. So, the first thing we have to do is stamp. No kidding. All right. And I'm going to stamp happy birthday in Old Olive. Let me find my ink pads. And I have several of them out that I'm going to use today. Oops. Okay. And we're going to try and get it sort of towards the upper part of here. And I'm not real good in frame. I guess I'm in frame. If I go out of frame, type all caps and yell at me. It's a little bit crooked, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. Alrighty. Cleaning my stamp, yeah. Okay, now, for these leaves, I already stamped them. It's this stamp here, and I simply stamped them in Old Olive on Old Olive, I think, or maybe Pear Pizzazz. One sec. I'll tell you. Old Olive on Old Olive is what that is. And you don't really have to do much more than that. And then just cut them out with the coordinating dies, which look like this, except they're kind of getting jumbled. And here's the die that goes with that. Come on. Right there. Okay, so that's easy. Now, let me close up my ink pad. These, and I seem to be missing one. Uh-oh. Yep. Okay, well, we might have to do another one of those. And that's good because I'll show you. For this, I didn't stamp that because there's no stamp to go with it. So let me pull the die out, which is down here. And we'll do one together because I need two. And I thought I had two, but this one's not done the way I want it. So what I did is I took this. Let me get a piece of Old Olive so I have it ready. Okay, I have one over here. Here's my scrap. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our Stampin' Right Old Olive and we're just going to color on the die where the little ridges are on the fronds or whatever it's called. And you kind of have to be quick about it because it'll sort of dry. You can blow on it just like you would if you were doing a stamp. And then quick turn it over. And then let me run it through the die real quick, the machine. And you'll see. And voila, there we go. So if you don't do that, here's what it looks like. You can barely see the details, but I wanted to be able to see the details. This one's in Pear Pizzazz, but you still can't really see the details in that one, and you can on this one. So that's a little trick to do, and we're going to do that again later on tonight. And then use a baby wipe or a paper towel spritzed with stamp cleaner or something and clean your die right away so that the next time you go to use it, you don't have a color on it you don't want to have on it. Let me put that away. Okay, so we have our two fronds. One's darker than the other. That is okay. We'll use the light one in between these other leaves here. Now, the next thing was we had to stamp, and I did already stamp. And I used, I don't know why I did that, but I used this stamp here. I have it out like I was going to do it again, but no well. And I stamped in Grapefruit Grove. So what I did on here is I used a little bit of light real red because these look like they have red in them. And then I colored them in with light and dark Daffodil Delight. So let's do that. You move this up a little bit so you can see. And I'm going to do the red first. And I'm just going to go over some of these lines that are already on here out from the center. But not all of them. I don't want too much red. Okay, I think that's good enough. And then we're going to take dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to use the nib end on this because I just want to go in here at the bottom. And it'll sort of turn that red a little orange, which is perfectly fine since I'm using Grapefruit Grove on the outside anyway. And I want it to get progressively lighter. Okay, a little more over here. Just where those lines were already stamped is where I want to go with that. And then I'm going to use the brush end and fill in the rest and blend in those other colors with it. The Stampin' blends, the alcohol markers are faster to color with than the Stampin' Writes, but they each have their purpose, and sometimes I feel like the Stampin' Writes give a more intense color, but you also get more streaking with it. But since they're dye-based inks, you can use them almost like watercolors, just like you can the inks. And that's a nice feature about them. And I think we'll let that dry and call it. I don't know. Sometimes I go back and touch up the red and stuff, but I think that's good enough. It'll lighten up a little bit. And then there's a die that goes and cuts that out. Thank you, Clay. Hi, Brandy. Okay, who did I miss? I'm having a pretty good day. Okay, that's all right, Jenny. So there's lots of dies in this set. This is the one that cuts out this flower. So we're just going to put that on here, figure out which way it goes. And with the new Stampin' Up! Dies, you want to try and have your die as close to the lines as possible. And you won't be able to see white around the edges, but you'll still get a little bit of a white edge like I did on this one. So that's not my best coloring job, but oh well. Okay, so I'm going to run that through the die cutting machine, which is I have a big Kick, but any of your die cutting machines will work. Hang on, I'm just trying to make sure it's still lined up. Okay. Hopefully I got that right. And there we go. Okay, let me put these away because I will use them. And now we're about ready to assemble. Oh, and this was cut out with the layering ovals. I buried them, which are in the annual catalog. And oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was the stitched. Oh, where are they? The stitched shaped dies. I'm sorry. Thought I was prepared. The stitched shaped dies have ovals, circles, and squares. And it was the second largest stitched oval. There we go. Got that out. Ugh. Yeah, it's nice and bright and colorful. Okay, now we have to try and assemble and hopefully get it right. So the first thing is, oh, and I forgot to tell you something. This is not an A2. This is 8 inches by 6 inches. And the reason I did that, and then it's scored at 4. So because these cards are 4 by 6. So this covers the whole front of the 4 inches, but it had to be 6 inches long because if I cut off some of this, I would have lost the effect. Yes, I have the magnetic platform. That's what I just used. I like it because the only thing is you do, if you try to move stuff around or get things too close to each other, the magnets will move your pieces. So you do still have to sometimes use tape of some kind to hold stuff down. But for the most part, if you just have like 1 or 2 dies and they're not smack up against each other, it works really well. I love it. I use it all the time. Okay, so this is 4 inch by 6 inch. It's a Memories and More card. And I just took the oval, stitched oval, and die cut that right out. Well, actually, I die cut a piece out that turned out looking like this. Okay, this is actually it. But I didn't want to use that because I would be covering up this beautiful floral on the other side. So I decided to cut another one out in Whisper White, and that's what I'm using here. And I stamped a happy birthday in Old Olive. So we have to glue this down while this is positioned where we want it. That's the key here, and I have trouble with it, but we're going to try and do our best. Okay, so let me lift this piece up again. And I guess if you had reusable tacky stuff, you could tack this down temporarily. But I'm just going to try and hold it in place, hopefully, while I glue this down. I'm using wet glue, which I prefer for most things. Not everything, but most things. All right, I have to hold it up, tap it, make sure it's in place, because I don't want to get this crooked. Okay. And then we're going to place it back in there. Okay. All right. Now we have to put stuff. Oh, well, look, we could do it that way too. That's pretty too, but it won't fit because it's a little off the way we're doing this. This is not Stampin' Up, and I don't know what brand it is, but I don't recommend it, but I have to use it up. And it covers a lot more area. But Stampin' Up does sell these strips, but they're very thin, and they're really good for doing shaker cards. They're called foam adhesive strips. I just didn't want to use so many of them at one time. You get 2 layers of them in here. 40 strips that are pretty long, like 9 inches long. Okay. And normally I would use those because I want a little dimension to this to make it look recessed. So I just put foam tape, and this is kind of thick foam tape. And you do need to have alcohol wipes because it does gum your scissors up. See? So these scissors are not for my ribbon. They used to be my paper scissors, but I have to clean them before I use them on paper. Hi, Teresa. welcome. For those coming in later, this is the card that we're making. It's a 4x6 card using the Tropical Oasis Memories and More cards and a Grapefruit Grove card base. And I'm using foam tape that I bought on online here. And I don't recommend it because it really is gummy, but it covers a lot of area and I have to use it up. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put another one here. Now, the hard thing with this is too, because this is so sticky, you really, really have to be careful putting it down the first time. And I sure hope I get it right live. Because if you don't, then your card's messed up, right? But anyway, this is what we're doing, everybody. Hi, Skylar. Thank you for joining us. So this is Stampin' Up! Card making night. And most everything I use will be Stampin' Up! With the exception of this sticky foam tape. So, yeah. I actually watched a video earlier, I think it was this morning, where somebody was doing a comparison of different foam tapes. Now, I wish I could remember who it was, but I guess if you looked, I mean, the video was just posted this morning, I think. So if you are interested in comparison of foam tapes that are wide foam tapes, and I think hers were all like 1/16 inch. This appears to be bigger than that as far as depth. Okay, I have to stand up, guys. Yeah, thank you for joining us. So I'm going to try and center that, but also get it on my card, all four corners correctly. And as soon as it starts touching, which I got a little bit crooked, but it's not bad. Not bad. I have a little crooked here. And I'm going to have to trim some off here. So yeah, I got it up from the bottom a little bit. And oh well, it's not too bad. Let me get my big scissors and trim that down. But as soon as that tape touched the card, you're done because it really sticks. I'm just going to trim off the extra that's sticking out here. This is a little trickier than doing the Eclipse ones that I did for Pinspiration collab. If you missed that, I'll try and remember to link it. Okay, so that's the basics. Now we just have to decorate, right? So what we're going to do, what I always do anyway, is lay things out the way I think I want them to appear first. Kind of like this. Maybe have our leaf we just did coming down there. And then the flower is also bumped up. Kind of like that. Okay, I think that works. So I'm going to glue this down. And I'm going to use a fine tip glue, which actually you'll be able to see is not Stampin' Up! Because I found another bottle, but it's not in my clear bottle. You can actually pour the Tombow Mono glue from Stampin' Up! Into a little bottle like these that you get off Amazon, and that will work too. But I'm using what's in my stash for now. Okay, so then let me place these down again. And I think on the first one, this leaf, I used a mini glue dot, dimensional. Right here. Yeah. And then I glued the rest. Cool. Thank you, Skylar. Yeah, everybody sub to everybody. It helps everybody's channel. Don't forget to sub to me if you're not already. And And don't forget I hate to ask, but don't forget the thumbs up, because it goes into the algorithms with YouTube, you know, helps get you noticed more. But by the way, guys, I went over 2,600 this morning. Woohoo! When I get to 3,000, hopefully I'll get to 3,000, I'll do a giveaway again, but not before that. Okay, now on this, I actually doubled because I'm bumping up the flower, and then it's already bumped up down into here. So let's see, which one do I want at the bottom? I think I want it like this. So on the top one, I'm actually doubling the dimensionals, the mini dimensional, to get enough depth. Probably an old trick to everybody in the stamping community, but I don't think I've ever done that before. Maybe if I did, it was a long time ago and only once. I don't remember doing it. And then we're just going to plop that down like that, because one dimensional there would not be enough. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put forgot to bump it up on dimensional. That's okay, because it's actually 2-dimensional on here. See? You'd never get this in an envelope. And that's pretty much the outside of the card. So now let's stamp the inside, and then we'll put our bling on the outside. Let me find my stand. Now, the inside, I believe I have a Stamparatus ready. And the reason is because it took me a few tries. I don't know whether I put my label on crooked or whatever, but it looked crooked to me every time I stamped it. And I don't know. So I'm using the Stamparatus. Be careful with your magnets so you don't break them like I just about did. And this should be right. And yep, and we're going to stamp that in Old Olive as well. Subby is subscribers. You know, YouTube, if you hit that red bell, red box, you become a subscriber to the channel. And then if you hit the little bell next to it twice, then you'll be notified when videos go up. Okay. All right, I'm just wiping off the edge of the stamp because I think I got too much ink on the edges, and I'm afraid I'll get them on the paper. So let's see how I did. A little lighter than I want, so I'm going to give it a go again. Thank you. Yay. There we go. Much better. That's the beauty of using the Stamparatus too, is you can get it darker. You know, it's like all the other stamp platforms, except you get 2 plates with this, which pull out usually if you have it straight up. And you can reverse them. You can put them up here and go this way. I actually am using the other plate. I have it ready for one of the other cards. So we'll be using this again tonight, but not for this card. Okay. So let me put this away. Take my piece off. Put that back in. I love this. Love this. And also, just so you know, I was using a foam, you know, the red rubber foam stamps. So the Stamparatus also comes with this foam mat, which I would put under my paper, grid paper. You do not use the foam mat for a red rubber. You use it when you're using the clear photopolymer stamps, because they're not as deep a stamp and you need this to get a better impression. And then this does not come with it, but you can buy a pack of grid paper. And I do that because I make a mess and I don't want my grid on the actual platform to get messed up. So that's just a little bit about the Stamparatus. I love it. And it's about, let's see, 7 by 7 inches in stamping area. So let me put that down here somewhere. Bring this back in. And I didn't stamp anything else on the inside of this one. Yay, thank you, Teresa. Yes, this is actually the first time I'm using it too, so maybe you'll get some ideas. And as I mentioned earlier, I think there's so much more I want to do with it that I think I'm going to be offering a class later in February, probably mid to late February. So stay tuned for that. I'll bring it up again as I get closer to being ready on another live. So there's our card, except we just need a little bling, I think. So we're going to use these Happiness Blooms enamel dots. They're in the annual catalog right now. And we're using the Grapefruit Grow color. And the first thing is we have to put a little one in the center of our flower, actually the medium size one here. And I'm using the Take Your Pick tool. Oops, to put it in the wrong place apparently. Okay, there we go. It picked it up, but then I couldn't see it to put it back down again. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to put a little one up here. And another little one over here. Let's see, where do I want it? I guess over here. And that's it. I go in odd numbers always. Just me. I don't think we need any out here because it's busy enough there. So there's card number 1. I think it's pretty. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad you did too. Spread the word. Okay, so that's card number 1. Let me get all these things out of the way and we'll go for card number 2. Any questions on that from anybody on technique or anything? I'll be glad to try and help. Actually, I want to keep these in my bin. If I can figure out what I do with the bin. Oh well. Put it in the card. Okay, let me take a sip of tea and we'll get ready for card 2. Thank you, Philomena. And get this out of the way. And these out of the way. And put my pin in my glue because I don't want it to dry up because it's too expensive to let it happen. Okay. Okay, so card number 2 will be this. And I have a, hang on guys, my little, here we go. So this is a piece of the Designer Series paper. I have a fuzzy on me or something. This is on Pool Party and it's cut lengthwise. So this is an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, cut at 4 1/4 on the 11, you know, the long side. So cut at 4 1/4 and scored at 5 1/2. All right. And then this piece is 4 1/8 by 4. And this piece is 1 1/2. I'm sorry, 1 1/8 by 4. So 1 1/8, 4 1/8, and that gives you 5 1/4. Now here I'm introducing these new dies. Well, actually, I'm introducing 2 things. This, I used the Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder on. I don't know if you can see it there a little bit. Thank you. And Nix, it didn't like that when you said that because it made me have to click show or hide. Nix is subscribed to me. I don't know. Maybe she's not. I don't know. Anyway, so we're using this embossing folder and another set of dies, which, where did I put them? Oh, I know. Hang on. Here they are. These are in the mini catalog 2020. They're called the Stitch So Sweetly dies. There's a sentiment stamp set that goes with them, but I'm not using that part tonight. So you can buy it as a bundle or you can just buy the dies. They look like this, except that I have one out already apparently. I know I do, because I have to use it yet. Uh-oh. Here it is. Ta-da! There it is. So we're going to be using that still. And they also have these label type shapes too, with this design and then some other shapes in there. And they go with the stamp set and Deb's shedding. So there we go. So we're going to use those Stitch So Sweetly dies. And then this is the burlap, brand new. It is called Braided Burlap Trim. It's got like a fuzziness to it. It's definitely braided, definitely tropical. And these are the trinkets. They are called Tropical Oasis Trinkets, and I can never get these open, but I'll try. There we go. So you have a ukulele. You have that pretty flower, tropical flower. You have the leaf, which is what I used. And I think there's something else. Oh, yes, the pineapple. So you get those. And how many do you get? You get 24. So you get 8 of each kind in the trinkets. Aren't they cute? Cute, cute, cute. I love them. They're really cute. Okay, so, and then inside I just did a little scrap of the designer paper. It sort of reminded me of, it's not water, but it sort of reminded me like it could be waves or splashes or something. It's probably fern fronds or something, but I don't know. I used it as though it's like water in the background. And then we're going to stamp these and die cut them out. And you see how there are 3 different colors? I used my Stampin' Right markers to color them to stamp. So we're going to do that together as well. Alrighty, so I've already got my card base cut here and scored. So let's just fold that. Well, they do have some things like that. And you know, one of the things that might just be in the class, I'm positive it will be actually, is I'm going to make at least one card using the watercolor pigment sprinkle crystals. So if you would be interested in it, no, it's already undone. These are little sprinkles that you can make backgrounds on watercolor paper preferably, but you don't have to use that, but it works better with that. And then you sprinkle them lightly, and then you put water on them. They're on page 179 in the annual catalog, and they're $23, but they last a long, long time. One little bottle, you just use like a little tap at a time. So at least one of the cards using this Tropical Oasis suite will also be using pigment sprinkles. I really wanted to get to that tonight, but I just excuse me, didn't have time. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is glue down this, and then the second thing we have to do is stamp our trees. So let's just go ahead and do our stamping on our trees first, and actually on our sentiment, for outside, I mean. I think I'm missing the piece I need for the inside. Yeah, that's all right. We'll cut that later. Okay. I already die cut the background piece of soft suede in those Stitch So Sweetly. So this is the one that'll be the white, and that'll be here. I think that'll be there. Yep. Yeah, I need this for the tree. So, Stamparatus, here we come again. The trees, and I'm doing that because I'm using markers to color this, and I want to make sure I get enough color on the paper. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in soft suede. Actually, we use 4 colors. Soft suede and early espresso, and pear pizzazz and old olive. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my soft suede, and I'm just going to do, can you guys see? I'm just going to color right on the stamp with the soft suede. Okay, then I'm going to do a little bit of old olive right in the middle of these palm trees. I guess I could have done that last, but that's all right. And then I'm going to take, I'm using the brush end on all of these, and I'm going to go over all the rest of the palm tree. Isn't this fun? I like doing stuff like this. And I'm not an artiste, but I just like having fun doing this kind of stuff. Okay, good enough. I'm going to blow on it in case any of it dried out, and then stamp it down. Okay, pretty good, but I want a little more color. I'm going to bring in early espresso, and I'm just going to go on one side of the tree trunks. I think I want a little more old olive in the middle. So I'm going to put more of that down. And then we're going to see how that comes up. I think that's good enough. What do you think? They have a moon stamp. There's a couple different sets in Stampin' Up! That are scenery. And if you want to do scenes, I highly suggest all of them. There's waterfront. There's snowfront. In this new mini catalog, there's mountain air, which is the one that has a moon in it. And then they have some things that are just, you know, like the background curves. Yes, you can, Nix. Because they're dye ink base, it's just like using your dye inks on them. You just have to clean them like you would a dye ink, and they clean up with, I use the stamp Simply Chamois, which I keep in a stamp case, and it looks gross, but I actually washed it before this session, and you use it over and over. It's a chamois, but it's a nice thick one. I think they're $7 or $8, something like that, and you know, reversible. And even though it looks gross, you can still use it. It still cleans. So there's our trees. Let me get this out of the way again. And now I have to get the die out and cut it. Oops. Losing my pineapple top there. So this is the die for the trees. And again, you want to, really, in this case, you want to line up your tree trunks first and make sure they're in there at the bottom. You don't want to see white on the bottom. You just want to see the trunk. And then sort of adjust your top also. I'll be right back. Thank you, Marla. Okay, I have to adjust a little bit. I'm on my magnetic platform, which I'm sorry is off screen. I just don't have room to bring it onto the screen. Some year. I was a little off on this one. I did better on the first one. I had it over a little too far, but it'll be all right, because a lot of that is going to be hidden down here. So we're going to go with it. It's not too bad. Let me put my die back. Now, sometimes I get a little picky. My scissors are bad right now, but I have another pair. Let me see if I can do it with these. This part at the bottom is not going to show, but I would just trim off some of this white at the trunk. I'd leave the leaves alone though. But you don't have to do that. There. And maybe a little on this one too. And that was me because the first one I did it and I didn't have to cut anything off. And they turned out really good. So beautiful. Oops. Just so you know, I do have the Stampin' Up snips, but I only use them for ribbon. I need to get another pair for paper. Okay, so now let's stamp our May Your Birthday Be Memorable. And that is on the Stamparatus again. Remember? So let me remove this one. Should have kept it up here. Oops. Put that back in. Now this piece of paper is a little small, so I have to adjust this paper down to about where I want it. I think about there. So let me put a magnet on it because I don't want it to move. And make sure it's right again. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be straight at least, because I'm going to die cut it anyway. I'm going to use soft suede. We're going to give it one more go, just a little more saturation. Okay, there we go. And we're going to clean it already too. Whoops. Well, the magnets on the Stamparatus worked to hold my die for me. Okay, let me see. What did I miss? Marla, thank you, Marla. Hi, Marilyn from British Columbia. Welcome. And yes, you can color with them on clear stamps as well, with the markers, Stampin' Right markers. Okay, so now let me get this out of the way again. And now we have to die cut this. Now this is a little tricky because we're going to end up cutting off just a little bit of the swooping bee tail. And I'd rather have that cut off than the Y tail, but it's pretty close. And I have to make sure I get it straight as well. So I had to turn around and cut this too. I'll be right back. And I think it's straight, but my eyes are not the best. Okay. Must be that old age thing creeping in. There we go. Pretty good, I'd say. Okay, so now let's assemble our front. We have our, this is what we're doing. We have our designer series paper. We could use that side, but we're going for the blue sky or ocean look in the background. First thing is I'm going to glue these together. Oops, right side there. And this is Whisper White on soft suede. And we're using the, I don't have these names down pat yet, sorry. Stitch So Sweetly dies that are in the 2020 mini catalog, formerly known as the Occasions catalog. So if you're interested in any of these products, let me know if you're in the US. And I'll be happy to help you. Okay, we're going to glue our background down now also. And there is a direction in this paper, and I'm going for it with the little, I don't know if you can see that, there's little white, like almost like grassy fronds or something heading up. So I want them facing that way and not sideways. So it's 4 1/8. up and down by 4 across. Okay. Now we have to place this next, and we want it sort of right up there, as close sort of to the right, upper right. Alrighty. I like using wet glue so that if I need to reposition, it gives you a second or two to do that. There we go. And now we're actually going to glue our trees down so that they're overlapping here and right about there. And I just glued them. I didn't bump them up or anything. You know, I usually like to bump a lot of stuff up, but nowadays with the postage, I don't know. Yes, I agree, Philomena. I agree. Great for man or woman because of the colors. I like this pool party color is one of my favorites. Then we have 1 1/8 inch by 4 inch, and I've run it through the Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder. Really like this embossing folder. Between it and Subtle, I think those two are my favorites now. Subtle definitely is. Your team wet glue as well, Brandy? Yeah. It's less expensive, right? Lasts a lot longer to me. And it just gives you, this kind anyway, gives you just a moment to reposition if you need it. And I usually need it. So, you're welcome, Nix. Okay, so another pet peeve I have is I don't like the seams to show. I don't know. That's just me. And I thought I had a piece of the trim cut. Let me look. Maybe it's down. Maybe not. Oh, maybe I have it up here already. I don't see it, so we'll just cut another one. Again, this is the braided burlap trim. It's part of this Tropical Oasis suite. And we just need 4 inches of it. So let me get my snips here, my ribbon snips. And I'm going to try and cut it pretty close to where we need it. Okay. And I just use one of those pins you get in any of the craft stores or sewing stores to hold my ribbon. Now for this, I am going to use, you could use mini glue dots. In fact, I think no, I used a snail. And I just go right along the edge, because I want this to really be held down all the way across. And I just refilled my snail, so we should be good. I want to stop right about there, because otherwise it goes off the edge and I get goo, and I don't like gooey edges. And then we just get a hair in there. There we go. And then lastly, I will use a glue dot for this. You just need one. The glue dots hold them on pretty well. So let's see. This is the side I went up, I think. Yep. I'm just going to stick one glue dot down on there and position our leaf. This one's going a different direction than the other one. Oh no, maybe it's not. I just positioned it different. Well, it's going to make a liar out of me. All right. It's wiggling and I don't want it to wiggle. I'm going to put another one on the tip. There we go. Okay, there's the front of our card. I think it's beautiful. Okay, so for the inside, need more room. We're going to use Rest and Relax, You Deserve It. I forget who I was watching who said, I don't like anybody to tell me to relax. It bugged her or something, but oh well. Yeah, that's true, Marla. That's why I use my snail here, glue dot there, because glue dots really are the only thing that will hold those embellishments on. But for positioning larger pieces, I like the wet glue better. You can use snail too if that's your preference, you know, these tape runners or whatever. I can't handle those large pink tape runners. I used to have one and I sold it because it's just too big and bulky for me, but a lot of people love them. Just, it's not my thing. All right, this one we're going to try and freehand and hope I can do it. Straight. So I'll use my grid lines here. Try and keep this straight. Okay. Yeah, this came with it. On Amazon, there was a big bottle, this 2-ounce bottle, and the metal tip came in it. It was like a trio, they called it, or something. Excuse me. But I don't like this 2-ounce bottle. This is not Stampin' Up, by the way. Contraband. I don't like this 2-ounce bottle because the bottom doesn't stand right and it keeps flopping over, driving me a little nuts. I'm a little picky that way. All right, guys. Help me see. Does that look straight? Yeesh. I'm going for it. I hope it's straight. Straight enough. Straight enough. All right. That was in soft suede, by the way. Stampin' ink pad. And I'm going to clean my stamp. Like those of you who attended my sale of used stamps, I clean my stamps right away after using them. And sometimes I clean them again if I used red ink and stuff with Stampin' Up sells this two things. They sell this Stampin' Mist, stamp cleaner. I really like this stuff. It really helps get some of the extra stain off. When you think you've got it all on the chamois, that's like a preliminary cleaning. And that gets more off. Or now they have, I showed that last week, this stamp cleaning pad, but you have to rinse your stamps off with water after you use this cleaner. It does get more color off, especially on the reds and stuff. It's just like a pad. See, I already had red on stuff. It looks weird. You can buy a refill for it too, but you have to clean your stamps off, so it's probably that strong. Personally, my preference, I like this Stampin' Mist better. And I actually used this to clean my dies. You know how we did that leaf earlier? Well, we're going to do something on the third card too, where I used marker on the die, and I used this to clean that off too. So anyway. Okay, we're going to glue this down and put this on the inside, and card number 2 will be finished. Woohoo. So I'm making a lot of birthday cards because I am so far behind in getting birthday cards out to people in my upline team group. Okay, let me see. Yeah. Oh, well, it's upright most of the time, but then sometimes I sit it down, it just goes plop. Anyway. I do like the tip on that though, but and I actually think I prefer that over pouring stuff into these little bottles, because I can, you need a funnel to do this because you waste glue if you don't. And I don't have any more of those filled, so. Okay, there's card number 2. Pretty. Woohoo. May your birthday be memorable. Mine would be if I was in the tropics on my birthday, but oh well, that didn't happen. Okay, next. You're going to have to tell me. I know I have it somewhere, but you're going to have to tell me what the date is, so I can start preparing now. Okay, so let me get this out of the way and bring in card number 3. Card number 3 is this. I went pineapples. Thank you, Paige. You too, what, Brandy? Brandy's is in April. I think Paige's might be too. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we're going with the big pineapple die, and I have a couple tricks I want to talk about with this too. And we're going to use the little pineapple stamp, and we're going to do something a little different than I did on here with the sentiment stamp. Okay, so I used I use So Saffron cardstock. This is a standard A2, okay? So Saffron, because these pineapples are in So Saffron. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is 5 1/4 by 4. And this is 5 1/4 by, I think, 1 1/2. Hang on. It'll help if I turn the ruler right side up. Yep, 1 1/2. So that's really the first thing we have to do is glue all that down. And then we're going to do the pineapple just a little different, and I'm going to show you what I did, or what we're going to do. All right, wait, I'm missing these dates. Got to get them. Hang on. Hang on. Oops. Okay. I have a scrap. Who's March 22nd? Oh, that's Paige's. So, there, girl. March 22. Anybody? Thank you, Philomena. And Nyx is in March. What date, Nyx? You know, that's become my favorite ruler lately. I used to use this one, but it got a little nicky thing in it, and I've had this for years. And I also bought this fancy Tim Holtz one. I never use it. I don't know. Maybe there's a better use for it, but I love my T ruler because, oops, I like that you can butt it up against the edge of the paper, and I feel like it gives you a better measurement. So anyway, 1 1/2 by 4. Now I missed somebody's birthday. 20th. Oh, you guys are like 2 days apart. Thank you. Anybody else want to give me their birthday? I wrote it down too. Now I just have to remember where I wrote it. All right, so I'm just gluing this piece of designer paper, which has flamingos on the back, by the way, onto the pineapples. This is the easiest card of the 3. Not that the second one was harder, but it has some little techniques here too. Okay, so those of you familiar with the Stampin' Up! Colors, doesn't that look like Pretty Peacock and Old Olive? I think it does. I can see I got that on just a tad crooked, but it's a little late now. Okay, that's all right. We're going to glue this down too. Look at the other side. Woohoo! I'm not too good about sending a fruit card to people. I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Pineapple's okay because they're kind of subdued here, but all right. Now, instead of stamping this right on the front, because it has this little break here, and even though I did this in the Stamparatus, I'm still not happy with it, and you can't really see this over here. We're going to stamp on a white strip. So I brought in a bunch of them because I don't know if I can do this straight. We'll try. And we're going to use Early Espresso. Oops. Or I could use, oh, you know what? Should I use Early Espresso or Pretty Peacock? What do you think? Because I think this has Pretty Peacock in it. I'm going to stamp it on white. Early Espresso or Pretty Peacock? Yeah, that's true, Clay. I know. I have a little basket I plop my bottles in, but except for my Tombow, which actually I need to put in there. I got this thing off Etsy. I don't remember the store name, but if you just go search for glue holders or glue stands, there's a bunch of them out there, and they come in all different colors. Peacock, 2 peacocks. Yay. Probably like my favorite new color. All right, we're going to try it and see how we do. I think I got too much on the edges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. Let's see. I think I want to go over this way. And this says, it's a little crooked. I'm going to flip it over and try. So which way was it? It was tilting up. I'm going to try and tilt it down a little bit this time. To my eye. Yes, that's much better. Okay. Scrubbing on the chamois. All right. So now that's going to go there. Oh, I got a shadow. Ugh. Anyway. Okay. So I've already die cut the pineapple, but I want to talk to you about that. I think I did. Thought I did. Here it is. I want to talk to you about that because on this one, I die cut it in soft suede, and then I took my Early Espresso marker and I just kind of smeared it over part of it to give it like a two-tone look. And then this I cut out of Old Olive, because this is what Pear Pizzazz looks like. This is what Old Olive with no adjustment looks like. And I tried it out of the paper, but I didn't like that. The designer paper. So, oh gosh, I am missing something. I guess we're going to do it together. So for the pineapple this time, you know what we did for that leaf, the other leaf? This time I took the die. Let me get the die. And I took the, instead of using the marker, now here's the thing, you have to be really careful you don't get ink all over you. And I brought in my bone folder. No, this is not the right die. For the bottom, we're going to do it, I guess, with the other leaf because I misplaced it. So for the bottom, I took this die and I just dropped it on my stamp pad, and then I pushed it in with my bone folder, and then I carefully lifted it so that I wouldn't get ink all over my fingers. And then I ran it through the die cut machine on soft suede. And that gives you, do you see the texture, the dots in there? I'm too close, I think. Come on, focus. Hang on. I don't know if you can see them, but the little texture dots are darker, where they wouldn't really show up much if you just ran it through without any. There you go. Okay. So that's what I did for the bottom. And then the top, on this one, I don't think I did it. I just took my Pretty Peacock marker and inked the edges a little bit. But we're going to do the same technique And I really thought I had done this already, but I guess I didn't. Maybe because I wanted to show you. I don't know. So we're going to take the top and we're going to push it in. We're going to die cut it on Old Olive, but we're going to push it into Pretty Peacock. Okay? We're going to make a mess. So now I need a scrap of Whisper White. Nope, I don't. I need a scrap of Old Olive. Hang on. I'm trying to see if I have one that I can use. No, they're already pretty well spent. Oh no. Oh, here we go. We use this. Oh no, wait. This one's even better. Perfect. Yay. Okay. So, here we go. Be prepared to watch Deb get her fingers all inky. Drop it on there and just push it into the ink. Yes, your bone folder will get dirty, so we have baby wipes on standby. Okay. I'm going to push down gently on one side, lifting up on the other. Okay, I think it might work. And I'm going to take it to the die cut machine. Be right back. Let's see how we did. Hopefully we did okay. Let me close this up. Look how much more dimension you get just with those lines in there. I know I did this already, but I have misplaced it. And then with this die, if you flip it over, maybe you can see these little pieces pop forward. I'm going to get a pokey tool thing. Not the right one. Here. Take your pick tool and just push them through from the back a little bit. And they do have center lines too. If you didn't put ink on there, you could wet it and scrunch it and make it look, you know, like you do with flowers. You make them look more realistic. So I'm just taking my thumbnail and putting it in the middle of these pieces that stick out, trying to give them a little more dimension. And even on some of these. And then this one. And that's pretty good. Okay. But I think that looks so much better than just this. Right? It gives it a lot more something something. What do you think? Yeah. I like the big pineapple too. Tweezers would work good too. So I learned that. I can't take credit for coming up with the idea. Let me get a baby wipe and clean this off. I learned that by watching a video probably about a year ago now or so, something like that, from Kelly Atchison. I watched her do it. She's another demonstrator that's way up there, and her and Dina are friends. So I had seen her do that. Actually, I think it was in the fall, because I think it was so maybe like 6 or 7 months ago. I think she did it with the leaves dies, and it really looked cool. So I thought, you know what, that'll work with the pineapple too. And I'm going to clean my bone folder off too, because I don't want that ink on my card when I go to use that again. So tweezers would probably be better, actually. Alcohol wipes would probably be better also to clean with. But anyway. Okay, so now we're going to glue that down. And then it seems a little, I have to bring this down just a little bit. And then I might trim this off a little bit and flag it over here. So let's see if we can do this. I'm actually going to use that fine tip glue bottle for the pineapple. Another technique you could use is use a silicone mat. Like this. Mine is a mess, but like this. Stampin' Up! Sells this. And you could just dab a little of your Tombow down and then use a sponge and go over the back lightly with the sponge. But I get myself all sticky when I do that. So I just prefer fine tip. And Stampin' Up! Does have a fine tip glue as well. And I have it. I'm just, my problem with that is it has one of those little pins, really skinny pins you have to put back in, and I can't see to get the darn thing in right. So I cheat and use this. Okay. Actually, we forgot to do something. Hang on. I have another piece of this burlap ribbon. And I'm just going to snail it on down here too. Because I don't want the pineapple to look like it's just sitting on nothing. Okay, now we can put our pineapple down. And I'm kind of putting it approximately halfway over, not quite, but anyway. And then we're just going to glue down the parts of this that aren't pushed out. Okay. And I just think that gives it so much more color and brilliance. And then you can raise your little other pieces up again if you need to. There we go. I do think I want to trim the sentiment down a little bit. I actually think I want to restamp it because it has a little shadow and I'm not happy with that. Picky, picky. Thank you, Paige. Yeah, I think it's better too. Just it looks more realistic to me. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen pineapple greenery. I always forget to look at them in the store. Most of the time there's not that many of them up here in our grocery stores. All right, let's try this again. All right, we're going with that. No shadows this time. And before I touch that, I'm going to check my fingers. See, they're pretty bad too. Let me get another baby wipe. Okay. I should wait and do that after I close my ink pad. Okay. And I think that's cute. This is a friendship one, not a birthday one. Although you could put happy birthday inside. I forget I didn't put any sentiment inside, so you could do that. All right. I need to cut this down a little bit. I think we're going to bump it up. Let me trim this off a little bit, right about there. Let me bring in the new little trimmer that's available if you decide to become a demonstrator between now and March 31st. Only for new demonstrators. One of the 3 extra gifts you get as a new demonstrator. Really good for trimming little things like that. And then I'm too lazy right now to get out my triple banner punch, so we're just gonna wing it. You go down the middle, then in from each edge, except I didn't meet it up. I actually don't like these scissors. A lot of people rave about them, but these are not Stampin' Up. They have a serrated edge on them, and I don't care for it much, actually. Especially for fussy cutting. But other people do, so that's just me. Okay, there we go. All right. Maybe the big ones are better, but the little ones I don't care for that much. Okay, let me get my dimensionals, and we're going to bump this up. I actually think I'm going to get my Stampin' Right Pretty Peacock marker and just edge this too. I don't want to add another layer of cardstock. I'm just going to go around this with my marker. Oops, to make it look a little more dimensional. And I do this a lot. You guys have seen me do this lots of times. I actually started doing this before I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Sort of like distressing it, but it just adds a little more dimension on labels and stuff, I think. Okay. Now we'll put dimensionals on. And I'm going to use quite a few because I don't want it to be flippy floppy. 4 of them. Okay. And then, oh, we're losing people. Stay with me, people. Oh, sorry. I know I'm slow, but we're just going to put that right there. Oops. Maybe even straight. There we go. And then on the inside, we're going to stamp this little pineapple. See what I did? And I'm going to stamp it in Old Olive. And then we're going to color it with blends. Now, you could stamp it in soft suede or something too. That would be all right. And put that off to the side. Close my ink. Ugh. And we're going to use light and dark. I think I just used light Old Olive. Yes, that's what I did. For the frond things. Whatever these are called. The greenery. And you don't even really have to do much blending since I stamped it in the same color because it already has like a darker area in there. So you're just filling in the white areas. And then it's already shaded for you. I give a lot of credit to the artists that developed these stamps. You know, that actually designed the stamps. Oh, well, okay, I'll try that. I think I tried that before, though. These small ones I just don't care for. Now I'm using, I think, light Daffodil Delight. I might have used So Saffron on the first one, but that's okay. And then I'm going to come back in with a dark. Yep, dark. I'm just going to go around the edges a little bit with the dark. I probably should have used So Saffron. I'm not really feeling the Daffodil Delight. And then I'll blend it. Give it more of a circular look is what I was aiming for. Keeping it light in the middle. There we go. We're all done. And now we can just glue that in. I didn't put any backing. I thought about putting a piece of Designer Series paper in here. Now see, blends will go through your cardstock. The Stampin' Rights will not, because they're dye ink based. They won't bleed through, but the alcohol markers do. So don't ever color with alcohol markers over top your card if you don't want it to show in that area. You know what I mean? I hope. There we go. Okay, and that is card 3. I definitely like this one better than this one. Okay. So, let me clean up this mess. Oh my goodness. What a mess. Put my pin back in this glue. And the rest of it I'll clean later. Okay, let me find the other cards. And I'll bring them back in. Here's card number 1. And card number 2. All different colors tonight. And am I in frame? I'm sort of in frame. I have to go this way. And card number 3. I like them all, actually. And this one is not A2. These are A2. This one's vertical. This one is the regular A2 opening, and this is a 4x6 card, which is a little different. I'll have to make envelopes for those. So there you have it. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Philomena. Thank you, Marie. Yes, triple banner punch is what I meant for the flagging. It's buried in a drawer. Thank you, Brandy. Okay, guys, so there's only a couple more days left to January. If anybody would like anything and you're in the USA, please use my host code for January for any order under $150. And if you wouldn't mind, here it is. And then February 1st, I'll be changing that to one for February. These numbers are listed on my Facebook business page of the same name, Deb House Crafty Cottage, and it says behind it, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I also have a Facebook group, Deb House Crafty Cottage group. That was for all crafty stuff, Stampin' Up! And otherwise. And let's see, this is on those pages. It's also below every video, and when I start doing February videos, it'll change to whatever the February code is. It's also on my blog, which is debhousecraftycottage.blogspot.com. And these cards will be up on my blog with dimensions by Friday. My goal this year is to try and get them up on Thursdays. So by the end of the day. Thank you, Clay. You need to get one what, Marie? I'd love to have anybody as a customer that's in the US and over 18. So anyway, I thank you all for joining me. It was a lot of fun. And now I have to go cook dinner because my son stayed home from work today. He hasn't been feeling very good. So, and he's going to the doctor in the morning. So we shall see, but we have not eaten dinner yet. So we need to, I need to cook at this late night. Oh, the triple, do you want to see the triple banner punch, or do you know what it looks like? I can dig it out. I was just being lazy earlier. I think I can dig it out. I think I can. There it is. This is the triple banner punch. It goes from 1 inch, 1.5 inch up to 2 inch. And it does your flags for you. I use this all the time. Actually, I just got, like I said, I got lazy tonight. But this is one of my favorite punches. I have a lot of favorite punches. Triple punch would be a triple spike drink, right? Yeah, it's a really good punch. I like it a lot, and I do use it most of the time. It just was in the back of the drawer buried, and I didn't want to drag it out at that moment. So there you have it. All right, everyone, I'm going to let you go. Have a wonderful night and a great week. And let's see, when will I be back? Which is the last day of January, Thursday or Friday? Friday. I'll be back Friday with 2 videos. I'll be back Saturday with 2 videos. And after that, I can't remember. Sunday is my daughter's birthday, and she's coming here to have Mom cook for her on Saturday night. So, yeah, should be fun. Okay, thanks, Marie. I'm pretty easy to find. If you have this name, then just search, everywhere for it. And, the link to my online store is below every video, too. It'll say, here's a link to shop with me or join my team. If anybody's interested in joining my team. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you soon. Hugs and peace. Thank you all so much for joining me and for the thumbs ups, too. And sorry about my yucky looking tea. There we go. All right, everyone. Take care.